begin to clarify, and we try to make sense of it for you. Brazier is drive time for radio and TV. It's fast, it's punchy, it's opinionated, there's a Brazier angle, and a little bit of levity.
That's the question.
That's two questions, actually. That's Brazier, Monday to Thursday, 4 till 6 on GB News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Christie's.
And I'm Mercy Moroki.
Make sure that you join us Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. until midday, right here on GB News for To The Point.
We're not afraid to talk about the topics that matter to you or the big topics that always matter.
We cover absolutely everything, from the breaking political stories of the day to law and order, what's going on in the channel. We're not afraid to hold people to account.
We always make sure we include your views on our show.
Indeed, if you're thinking it, you can guarantee that we're saying it. So make sure you join the conversation with us, 10 a.m. until midday, Monday to Thursday, for To The Point on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
My name's Tom Harwood, and every weekday we bring you The Briefing live from 9:30 a.m. The stories, analysis and live debate that you need to hear.
Quite right, Tom, of course.
Was this something that had been considered at all?
Difficult to answer.
Gas-guzzling helicopters circling. Noise is being made here.
Joe Biden walking out.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Don't miss it. The Briefing with me, Tom Harwood, Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. on GB News.
We store, pick, pack and post on behalf of e-commerce sellers. So the guys that you buy from online, particularly in the last couple of years, people have been stuck at home buying from people online. We actually ship that stuff out.
So if you make stuff in your garden shed and sell it online, Huboo can take care of all the logistics, all the packaging, all the difficult stuff that really stops businesses from growing.
We can. We're unique in doing it for a much broader range of clients. They've always been fulfillment companies, which is what a company like ours is called. But they've tended to work with big clients, clients that have relatively few items and that ship them in huge volumes. We work with clients of all sizes, complex clients, clients that sell secondhand or vintage, small clients, people that do sell from their bedroom, so a really broad range.
Tell us about the physical side of the business.
It looks unlike a traditional warehouse, so we really revolutionized the way the warehouse floor works. There are some fundamental problems with warehousing, the biggest one being that it makes people miserable. It has them walking miles and miles every day. The micro warehouse collapses the business into a smaller warehouse that is run by a single individual. So that might be a picker or a packer. For us, they manage the whole thing, more like a retail unit, all of the inbound, all of the outbound, the picking, the packing, the posting. And crucially, they engage with the client as well. So they get that feedback loop that lets them know they're doing a wonderful job or helps them if they're not.
How about your East End background? Does that help?
It's made me tenacious and hardworking, but it's also made me very concerned that the people that work for us should be treated properly and paid properly. We work really hard.
Because you know what it's like at the sharp end.
Yeah, exactly. It's just got sharper and sharper over the last 10 or 15 years. Those kinds of jobs, the wages haven't increased. Meanwhile, the cost of rent these days is ridiculous. It's really difficult for people to make ends meet that are doing those kinds of jobs.
Join me, Gloria De Piero, Monday to Thursday at noon for The Briefing. We go to the parts of Parliament that you won't see elsewhere. Plus, there's exclusive interviews with MPs from all parties.
But quite often, they paper over the real truth. Why does a working class lad like you join the Tories?
That's a good question.
Don't miss it, Monday to Thursdays at noon on GB News.
someone like Ricky Gervais in this country, he says whatever he wants and he doesn't care about because he can't be cancelled.
I still think that even he toes the line a little bit. He thinks about it. I mean, I do think he considers it. You have to, because the weird thing is, like for me, like what I feel about what's happening right now. I mean, I feel like I can talk about it on stage because I'm established, but I also think like, if you're partners with the biggest streaming service in the world, and then if you also, you're doing a commercial for this international company, and so you have to think, how much do I really want to rock the boat? And as a comedian, it's your job. The best description, Ralph Gleason, who was a terrific writer, talked about Lenny Bruce in a seminal book about Lenny Bruce. And he said that Lenny was the pearl in the oyster. Yeah. And Lenny Bruce, the great American comedian. And so the oyster is a beautiful thing that's created. So the oyster is the society, and it creates this beautiful thing, a pearl, that Lenny Bruce. But the pearl is attacking the oyster. Yeah. So and it has to cover it, and hopefully it just goes away. And it's this beautiful thing. So I do think that sometimes I think people forget that this is supposed to be an irritant. You are supposed to, as a comedian, you're supposed to be controversial. You're supposed to take the other side. You're supposed to get the audience to question their foundational thinking.
That ability to look away and let things be is a sign of maturity. And behind closed doors, and this is what the racism of law expectations is about, is with those Muslims, they're just not there yet. That's really what it boils down to.
That's a really interesting point as far as that. Is it this expectation that Muslims are likely to react violently if they're upset? That's a very patronising
because the Christians used to do that in the past. They're over it now. Right. They're old enough, they're mature enough, they're adults. But the expectation that a Muslim who expects to be offended. Yes. So the assumption is if you're a Muslim, a drawing of the Prophet Muhammad, whether it's flattering or not, is going to offend you. Can you look away?
Well, it's not necessarily true that all Muslims would be offended.
Well, first of all, it's not true. Yeah. That's again why I think it's a form of racism, and it's a form of, in itself, if you want to pursue the notion of Islamophobia, it is actually a form of phobia. First of all, it's not true. It applies to a minority. Yes. But the assumption is they can't deal with it. The Christians can, the Jews can, maybe the Buddhists and the Sikh can. Yes. But the Muslims, they can't deal with it. They're just going to erupt in a violent rage.
Every night at 11 on GBNews, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Well, I was brought up in a Christian home, and that was a big part of my upbringing, really. And particularly, I suppose, very much a focus on character and values and virtues. So I was quite a high achiever at school. I did really well in lots of things. I was one of those lucky people who just enjoyed school and it really suited me. But what my parents really emphasised was character, how we treated each other, whether we said sorry and forgave each other when we fall out, as all families do, honesty, integrity, those kind of things. And I suppose that's what I've carried with me. I think those things are so important in not just our personal lives, but in our national life as well. The virtues, the characters. It sounds really old-fashioned, but actually, if we treat each other properly, then everything else follows from that. So, yeah, faith and the teachings that come out of it have played a big part in my life.
And how do you practice your faith? Are you a churchgoer? Is it daily prayer?
Yeah, all of the above. I mean, I'm churchgoer, read the Bible, all those kind of things that people would see as religious. But for me, it's much more alive than that. I suppose as a Christian, I think, yes, it's about reading the Bible, knowing about my faith, understanding theology and things like that. But it's more about a sense of purpose and having a living relationship with Jesus and, just following that day by day. And I think it gives me a real strength because as politicians, as you know, we come under a lot of attack, and frequently we make decisions where we're not actually 100% sure. You know, we weigh things up, but is this the right way to vote? And I think having that security of knowing that I believe in something bigger and something higher is really, really important, and actually helps cope with the day-to-day ups and downs of political life.
What are the biggest ups of political life?
No 2 days are the same. The things that you learn about and become involved in are just amazing. And the influence.
On Mark Dolan tonight, we have a simple plan, which is to inform, stimulate and entertain in equal measure. It's all about getting your opinions on the national television airwaves. I love my viewer emails, mark@gbnews.uk. So do join me from 9 p.m. to midnight every Friday, Saturday and Sunday for big guests, big opinions and a big presenter. 6'5", don't you know? See you then on GB News.
When you get abuse on Twitter or wherever, does it ever make you stop and think, am I right? Because this is quite a barrage.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm one of these people who occasionally likes to stick my neck out with things. Some can say that's being a little populist or deliberately controversial. These are all things that I do genuinely believe in. And I always say that, you know, if you don't believe something, don't say it.
Has it ever become more than just social media abuse?
I think where it crossed the line for me is when they start making comments about your family or threats and so on. And I think after I made the comment about taking the knee, I had one particularly unpleasant message that was sent to me. And it said basically about kneeling on my children's necks until they were dead because they wanted me to feel that pain. I had to speak to my wife about that just to say, look, please don't get upset with this. Don't take it too personally. It's just idiots on a keyboard. It's not going to happen in real life. But I think sometimes people forget in terms of the security we have. My house, you know, it's been fitted with panic alarms and new locks and everything. And in my case, it was just a threat. The police dealt with it. They were great and so on. But it just does make you worry in future that something actually bad could happen.
You described Facebook as a morality-free zone.
I was being unkind to them that day, I think. Yeah. Facebook is a bit of a cult, let's be honest about it. I mean, it just appears to have a different agenda, in fact, than the other social media companies. And they have a huge impact on society, so therefore, they do need to engage properly with political process. I would like to see them take the approach that I do think some of the other ones are taking. We don't want to see society crumble. So therefore, what we need to do is we need to work to ensure that our platforms are still free, but at the same time, they still have at least an understanding of the social harms that can happen and proper processes in place in order to combat those. Facebook needs to come a long way towards that, and they're not doing it yet.
Lucy, would you like to lead your party one day?
I don't think I would. No, not really. I think the cost on one's actual life would just be far, far, far too great, to be honest. As women, we do weigh up those costs a lot more, the cost to our family, the cost to our lives. I think as women, we do generally, we wear that responsibility is weighted on us a lot more.
The Tory women seem to, I mean, come on, because they've done better. They've done better, considerably better than the Labour Party.
I know, but to be fair, there is I'm not being disparaging about it, but there is a sort of a different sort of culture with maybe people who are a bit posher about boarding schools and nannies and things like that. It's not quite the same as, you know, trying to pair up the socks and deal with the homework.
I'm Neil Oliver. You can join me live every Saturday evening for opinions and discussions about the week's top stories. There's also a smattering of history and archaeology and features that define our great British Isles. You'll hear my thoughts unfiltered, as well as those of my guests, and we don't always agree. And we want to hear from you too. Neil Oliver Live, Saturdays from 7 on GB News.
What was the most memorable country you worked in?
Well, that's hard because I was in countries, Australia, the United States, also in Africa. But I think the most exciting one, because of the time that I was there, was the Soviet Union, because I was there a lot during the transition between it becoming the Soviet Union and then becoming Russia. And I remember once I was with a guy called Boris Viktorovich Nekrasov, who was head of radio studio planning at Radio Moscow. And it was May Day, and we were watching the parade as it was beginning to go or heading into Red Square. And a policeman, a militiaman, came up to us and said, you can't stay on the sidewalk, on the pavement. And Boris said, what do you mean we can't stay on the sidewalk? He says, well, that's my orders, he said. So Boris says, well, can we join them? So we joined them. And I joined. What it was a protest group which was behind the military parade. And they were flying the Lithuanian, Latvian, and Estonian flags when it was illegal because they were then Soviet socialist republics. And I got chatting to one guy who was, I always remember, was a ginger-haired, blue-eyed guy who said, I said, why are you protesting? And he said, well, I'm Jewish, which I didn't look Jewish to me, but anyway, he said, I'm Jewish. And he said, in my internal passport in the Soviet Union, it doesn't say I'm Lithuanian or Russian, it says Ivri, which is Jewish in Russian, as if it's a nationality, when in fact it's a religion. And of course, there's a great difference between nationality and religion, whatever the religion might be.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
I'm Liam Halligan. Join me every weekday at 1 p.m. for On the Money, your daily dose of economics, business and consumer news. I got 25 years experience covering economics and finance. We hold grown-up discussions with a host of experts who really know their stuff. We can't buy gas and store it. That was a mistake, wasn't it?
I think it was a mistake.
Even you, Liam, don't have a crystal ball.
Inflation's a real threat. Every weekday at 1, you're On the Money.
Forgive the delay in getting on air. I think you'll agree I'm worth the wait. It is Saturday the 16th of April. You're watching and listening to Mark Dolan Tonight, a cracking Easter bank holiday show that we've got lined up for you amid rumours that Big Brother is going to return to television. Has reality TV been bad for society? We'll discuss that with a former Big Brother star. In the big question, is divorce now too easy? And my Mark Meets guest is Benidorm star, actress and stand-up comedian Chrissy Rock. We'll talk about life on the set of one of Britain's most popular sitcoms. Plus my all-star panel tonight, featuring Hilary Freeman, journalist, novelist and agony aunt, Tommy Sandu, TV presenter, comedian and DJ, and Ashleen Horgan, who is an actress, TV personality and model. We've also got US news with the Queen of US royal political and showbiz reporting, Kinsey Schofield. And in the news agenda tonight, we'll be tackling some very big topics, including, are beautiful women at a disadvantage in life? And should your children have the same accent as you? Do accents even matter? Of course, I want to hear from you throughout the show. The best bit of my programme is when you get in touch. So drop me a line right now, mark@gbnews.uk. And you know the rules of this programme. What are they? We don't do boring, not on my watch. I just won't have it. So a packed 2 hours to come, and you won't want to miss a second. Some big stories, some big opinions, and plenty of laughs along the way. And it's the Easter bank holiday, so grab something fizzy from the fridge or tear open those Easter eggs and let's get to work. The billionaire founder of the car company Tesla, the payments company PayPal, and the space exploration company SpaceX, Elon Musk certainly knows his onions. This South African-born US citizen has already changed the world several times over, in his short 50 years. Transforming the way that we pay for goods, PayPal was a bonkers idea when it first started, and investors said it would never work. The motor industry said that Tesla, the electric car company he created, was hugely overvalued and a bubble about to burst. Well, its current market valuation makes it the most prized automobile brand on earth. What the car industry called a white elephant is now the hard-to-ignore elephant in the room. SpaceX is another groundbreaker, developing rockets that don't just go to the far-flung corners of the universe, but they come back again, reducing the potential cost of space exploration by up to 40 times. Waste not, want not, eh? Like all great innovators, Elon Musk is a maverick, getting through wives and girlfriends more quickly than James Corden gets through burgers and hot dogs. Musk is erratic, at one point saying he was going to sell all of his property, briefly abandoning the very idea of capitalism. A bit ironic coming from the ultimate capitalist and one of the richest men on God's earth. Plus, he regularly gets stoned on Joe Rogan's podcast and makes bold public announcements that crash the value of his shares. You don't have to be mad to be a great innovator, but it certainly helps. So the message is a clear one. Underestimate Elon Musk at your peril. The latest chapter in his plan for world domination casts him as the savior of free speech. He's the single biggest shareholder of Twitter, but he seems to be an unhappy owner, calling out Twitter's now relentless censorship. It seems he wants to buy Twitter to save it. Twitter, the social media platform with around 200 million users, is supposed to be like the internet itself, a free and open marketplace of ideas. But here is the reality. Musk recently put out this poll to his followers. He wrote, "Free speech is essential to a functioning democracy. Do you believe Twitter rigorously adheres to this principle? Yes, 30%. No, 70%. And that is an authoritative poll engaged in by 2 million people. Platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram have for years provided a platform for terrorists, sex offenders, gangsters, drug dealers, you name it. But their defense has always been, oh no, we're not publishers like a newspaper, we're just a platform. Nothing we can do about it. And they've been very slow over the years to tackle some truly hateful behavior on their platforms. But they're all too happy to step in when those expressing their views don't align with the ultra-politically correct, woke narrative peddled by these platforms themselves. Any questions about the origins of COVID or whether lockdowns work, questions about mask efficacy or vaccine side effects, will see you censored, slapped down with a warning, or even removed altogether. One such example is Dr. Robert Malone. This man is quite literally one of the inventors of the mRNA vaccine technology, a man who actually received the COVID vaccine as well. But he's concerned about side effects, which are real, and he takes the view that the jab should be focused on those who risk hospitalization and death. He may be right, he may be wrong, but purely by taking a considered and clearly ultra-qualified view, this world-renowned vaccine expert was permanently removed from the platform. What about this absolute corker from the European Medicines Agency? That's right, the European Medicines Agency. Doesn't get more belt and braces than that. Effectively, an arm of European government. Here is their offending tweet. They hosted a press conference in which they questioned the wisdom of boosters every 4 or 6 months, given the unknown impact it might have on the immune system long term. Just to reiterate, this is the European Medicines Agency, who, if you look at the bottom of this tweet, have been labelled misleading. You couldn't make it up. Anything that doesn't fit their narrow and often discredited agenda is labelled misleading. If you'd speculated a year ago that COVID might have come from a lab in China, that would have got you axed from the platform. Now it's considered a highly likely source of the virus. Go figure. And in terms of censorship, most notably, the former president of the United States, the democratically elected leader of the free world, Donald Trump, was taken off Twitter, whilst the Taliban, a twisted and dangerous cabal of murderous gangsters, and Vladimir Putin, who needs no introduction, Remain on that platform. Explain that one to me. Evidence-based science has been another victim of this pandemic, with Professor Carl Hennigan from the University of Oxford, if you've heard of it, actually banned from Twitter briefly. The prof was slapped with a fake news warning after sharing a Mail on Sunday article about an Oxford University study that found Britain's coronavirus death toll may be lower than first thought. It flashed up alerts saying, warning, this link may be unsafe. The link you're trying to access has been identified by Twitter or our partners as being potentially unsafe. Welcome to hell. Sorry, it's you, Twitter, and your terrifying censorship, which are unsafe. Twitter, with its footprint as an early adopter, is at this stage insurmountable. A bit like Google in relation to search engines. They have an effective monopoly. So we need action now, because free speech in the Western world is on life support, and Elon Musk might just be the man to save it. It's been Elon time coming. Twitter is a Musk buy. Another one bites the Musk? That last one didn't make sense. I personally have zero agenda. I just want freedom. Anything goes, as far as I'm concerned, within the boundaries of the law. I don't want a platform that encourages one line of thought or another, but one that, like GBNews, welcomes all opinion. Have you ever seen me censor or shoot someone down? It's never happened, and it never will, not on my watch. We've seen much of mainstream media operate in very much the same way, providing narrow coverage, for example, of the pandemic, casting it as the sequel to the bubonic plague. How many of the lines of questioning from journalists at those press conferences was always about why we're not having more lockdowns, longer, faster, tougher? It seems many in the press and in broadcasting just love to see the public being controlled. And that's what this tech censorship on platforms like Twitter is all about. By controlling what you say, they seek to control what you think and what you do. This land grab of our intellectual freedom has been in the pipeline for years, accelerated by the huge propaganda opportunity of the pandemic. It won't all work, of course, it won't work. In the end, the truth will out. All of these outlets will claim fake news for anything they don't like the look of. Fake news and disinformation is really just shorthand for anything that doesn't fit the prescribed narrative. But the success of the West, of freedom-loving liberal democracy, has always been the competition of ideas. No one has a monopoly on the facts, on science, on history, on morality, on empathy, or on the truth. What the tech giants don't realize is that with this micromanaging of public discourse, they are actually sowing the seeds of their own destruction, as proved by the excellent video sharing app Rumble, who went viral this week after being criticized by the mainstream newspaper, the Globe and Mail, for not having censorship on their video platform. Here is how Rumble replied to this attack. There is a reason the public has radically turned against both corporate media and big tech, because you have arrogantly claimed for yourselves the power to decide what information the public can and cannot be trusted to hear, and what views they can and cannot express. By stark contrast, the reason Rumble is growing so rapidly is because we trust adults to make decisions for themselves about what ideas they can express, and we trust them to make up their own minds, hearing all sides. How shocking that this censorious purge of journalism should come from other journalists, on this occasion at the Globe and Mail. But they're not the only ones. Look at this other high-profile journalist at the Washington Post newspaper, urging for more censorship. This respected hack said the following: "I'm frightened by the impact of society and politics if Elon Musk acquires Twitter. He seems to believe that on social media anything goes. For democracy to survive, we need more content moderation, not less." That's right, he wants more content moderation, not less. Profoundly wrong. We must fight to protect the hard-won freedoms of the West, for which so many gave their lives in 2 world wars. I won't hold my breath that that change will come anytime soon, because these platforms are controlled by rich and powerful vested interests. It will therefore take a rich and powerful individual or organisation to take them on, which is why Elon Musk is right to use his power for good. I hope he succeeds. Free speech is non-negotiable and the essential foundation of a liberal society. For how much longer will I be able to say that? Reacting to the big stories of the day are my all-star panel. Delighted to welcome Hilary Freeman, Tommy Sandu and Aisling Horgan. Aisling, if I could start with you. Do you think that it would make a difference if Twitter was owned by Elon Musk?
Absolutely, and I think it's what we need. I actually used to be on Twitter all the time, but I saw the censorship happening and the warnings coming up with tweets, and I removed myself from it slowly. I'm still on there, but I don't go on there half as much because it is so censored. We need freedom of speech and we need to be able to say what we want when we want. And I think Elon taking it over is brilliant.
Tommy Sandu, what are your thoughts about Twitter? Do they have an effective monopoly, do you think?
Well, at the moment, I mean, every large media outlet is owned by some kind of billionaire or some kind of very rich man at the very top. So it's just interesting that we've all reacted this way to Twitter because it's seen as a space for free speech. But as we're seeing, tweets are being pulled. And just to point out, Elon Musk isn't saying he wants more views from the right or from any other side of the argument. He's just saying less cancelling. And if anything is taken off, I want to know why it's been taken off and what the reasons are behind it. It's this secret cancelling that goes on where things are being pulled and there's secret agendas at place that is worrying everybody. And that's what makes conspiracy theories go so rife because we all start wondering what's being said, what's going on. And also, can I just point out, it doesn't make very good business sense. He's actually offered like $10 above per share for the price of the shares. He's offered, I think it's $54.20, which has also got people into conspiracy theory territory because it's 420, and 420 is the number of the weed smoking day, the 20th of April. So they're worrying that the people are kind of questioning, he's only offered that because he's into smoking weed, and therefore it's a reference to 420. So, there's lots of people that are kind of poo-pooing his money offer as well, saying, but I think the fact that he's offered so much money for it shows that surely he cares. He's actually saying, let's open this up, I'll pay the money, but can we just have this as a space where anything kind of goes. I just think as long as it doesn't get into people inciting violence or hatred or crimes, as long as it's that monitored, then everybody should be allowed to say what they want to say. It's only words. It's an extended version of points of view from back in the day. That's all it is. That's all Twitter is. It's points of view, isn't it?
Too right. Hilary Freeman, do you think that free speech in the West is on life support?
No, I don't actually think so at all. I think that people can pretty much say what they like within reason. I think the problem with the social media sites is actually that the way that they're run, it's not humans using their judgment that are doing the cancelling. On the whole, it seems to be bots. I got banned from Facebook recently for using a figure of speech. I know someone who quoted Shakespeare, a quote about killing all the lawyers, who's been banned from Facebook for a month. And it's clearly because this is all being done by bots. And I think that if actually the whole way that these things were run, if people actually had to use their real names, their real photographs, that they had to give their addresses or bank account details or something, you'd get rid of a lot of the trolling and people would, that you'd have better free speech because people would actually be saying what they believed rather than just saying stuff to incite people and to get lots of followers.
Do we still have freedom of speech in the West? What do you think? Mark at gbnews.uk. Do let me know. My Mark Meets guest, by the way, is an absolute superstar. A legendary actress from Benidorm. Very excited about Chrissy Rock, who's live at 10. Stand-up comedian. She was in an amazing Ken Loach movie as well. She'll talk about her career, her best-selling book, and much more. Plus more alternative news headlines. And later this hour, it seems that Big Brother is on its way back. But do you want it? Would you watch it? And has reality TV been bad for society? We'll discuss that with the former star of Big Brother. So lots to get through. But next up, is divorce too easy? See you shortly.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr. Me and my panel will get stuck right into the day's events, and I can tell you, in fact, I can warn you, expect some robust debates, some strong opinions and perspectives from both sides of the fence. It's about you at home as well. I love to read out all of your comments, or at least as many as I can. So join me, Michelle Dewberry, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr.
On radio, they call it the drive time slot, 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. as listeners head home. It's that part of the schedule when the dust of the day's events begin to clarify, and we try to make sense of it for you. Brazier is drive time for radio and TV. It's fast, it's punchy, it's opinionated, there's a Brazier angle and a little bit of levity.
That's the question. That's two questions, actually.
That's Brazier, Monday to Thursday, 4 till 6 on GB News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Christie's.
And I'm Mercy Moroki.
Make sure that you join us Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. until midday, right here on GB News for To The Point.
We're not afraid to talk about the topics that matter to you or the big topics that always matter.
We cover absolutely everything, from the breaking political stories of the day to law and order, what's going on in the channel. We're not afraid to hold people to account.
We always make sure we include your views on our show.
Indeed, if you're thinking it, you can guarantee that we're saying it. So make sure you join the conversation with us, 10 a.m. until midday, Monday to Thursday, for To The Point on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
I'll get to your emails very shortly. Big reaction to my big opinion monologue about whether free speech in the West is under threat. And don't forget, in Mark Meets, we're going to speak to the star of Benidorm. Very excited to have Chrissy Rock live on the show. But it's time now for the big question, in which we tackle a major topic of the day from multiple points of view. This week, the Divorce, Dissolution and Separation Act heralded the introduction of no-fault divorce, meaning that couples no longer need to blame each other for the collapse of a relationship. I do hope Mrs. Dolan isn't watching this. It's been reported that the government's decision to scrap Britain's fault-based divorce system has prompted a flurry of breakups, with 3,000 applications for separation lodged in just a week. 3,000 in a week. So, under the old regime, divorces could be granted only if the petitioning applicant proved one of 5 permitted facts, which included accusing the spouse of adultery. Other reasons included blaming one spouse for unreasonable behaviour or desertion. Well, what do we think about this? You have to wonder whether divorce is now getting too easy. To debate this, I'm delighted to welcome financial planner with a lot of expertise in couples who have separated, Liz Grimshaw, and the head of public policy at Christian Concern, Tim Dieppe. Hello, Tim. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Now, Tim, we can make eye contact, you and I, for the start, because I just want to really get to the bottom of the spiritual side of this for you, the faith-based side. Do you think that divorce is now too easy?
Yes, I do. Yeah, this should really be called unilateral divorce, Mark. What it means is that one partner can unilaterally decide to impose divorce on the other partner. And then all the consequences of that, probable loss of the family home, splitting the assets, splitting custody of the children, all of the emotional trauma that involves and all of that kind of thing. And you end up rewarding the person who wants to break the marriage and penalising the person who wants to actually be faithful and try and keep the marriage together. And surely the law should be the other way around to that. This is probably now the only contract in law where one person can unilaterally break out of it without any reason, without citing any fault, and just have it happen. And there you are. And surely it makes it easier to break than a tenancy contract, easier to break than some mobile phone contracts. Surely marriage should mean more than that.
But we've had, haven't we, Tim, the ridiculous theatre of couples who both want to separate, it's a mutual decision, having to cook up an excuse. And it would be a case of one spouse saying to the other, all right, you just write it down as unreasonable behaviour. Why do we go through that farce?
Well, it shouldn't be a farce. It should be a serious thing, and people should have a serious reason for why they want to break a serious vow that they've made, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and health, till death us do part. So it should be a very serious reason. I mean, I accept that divorce is sometimes the least worst option, but it should be an absolute last resort with a very good reason behind it, and it shouldn't be that one partner can impose it on the other without giving any reason whatsoever.
But if one person wants out, isn't that enough to justify the dissolution of a relationship? I mean, what relationship worth its salt has got one party that doesn't want to be there?
Marriages quite often go through difficult times, and where people are struggling a little bit, and then they work it through, they get through it, and end up with a better relationship than they had before.
What,
and
through coercion? Through one partner basically entreating the other not to leave?
Through deciding that it's worth it, saying, let's give it a go, let's try and do it, let's try and make it work, right? And so actually the government should be encouraging that. The cost of family breakdown each year is £51 billion. That's £1,800 per taxpayer per year. Surely the government should be discouraging family breakdown, trying to encourage people to stay together and trying to encourage people to keep it together for the sake of family and society, encourage people to keep their promises rather than making it easier to break it up.
51 billion, that's more than Test and Trace, isn't it?
It's a huge number.
And furlough, put together.
It's a huge number, yes.
Well, where does that figure come from, 51 billion?
It comes from an estimate from the Family Foundation, I think.
What, because the families wind up needing benefits?
Yes, all the benefits from single parents, all the benefits, all the cost of society, of children ended up more likely to go on alcohol, less likely to have jobs, more likely to end up in prison, all of those consequential costs that come through from family breakdown.
Fascinating conversation. Well, let's now bring Liz Grimshaw into it. Hi, Liz, welcome to GB News.
Hi. Hi.
Liz, what do you think about this? Is divorce now a bit too easy, even from a financial point of view?
No, I don't think so. And I think the change in the law doesn't necessarily mean that more people will do it. I think we'd all like to think when you get married that you stay married, but that's not always the case. Times change, and surely if there isn't any blame, or you can move forward as you want to, then it can be done a little bit more amicably, and that's surely better for everyone involved.
But Liz Grimshaw, divorce is bad news spiritually, as pointed out by Tim Dieppe. It's bad news financially as well, isn't it? Divorce is about the worst investment ever.
Well, when you enter into a marriage, Mark, then everything's going to be shared. Right? If you don't want to share anything, then don't get married to start with. So when you decide to separate that relationship, then everything has to separate, whether it's your home, your children, your finances. So I don't think it's necessarily the worst financial decision. It's a decision that you make emotionally, and if that's what you want to do, then you have to be prepared to separate other things as well. And
however, Liz, sorry to interrupt you. If
there isn't really
divorce,
any way of protecting your finances before that.
Liz, if divorce was more difficult, people would think twice before getting married, and surely that would be a good thing.
I personally don't think they would. I think people get married because they want to. Situations change and they end up in divorce. And that's not necessarily how they set out for it to happen. It just happens that way.
Well, let's bring my fantastic panel in on this conversation, because we have reality TV star, entrepreneur and celebrity Ashleen Horgan-Wallace. We also have comedian and broadcaster Tommy Sandu, and journalist and agony aunt and novelist Hilary Freeman. Hilary, let me start with you. Do you think divorce is too easy these days?
No, not at all. I think actually marriage is too easy. I think marriage should be a lot harder, and divorce should be easier. I think it's the wrong way round, and I think this is a really good move from the law. And I think that the reason that this has happened, you said 3,000 people have applied in 1 week, is not because everybody suddenly wants to get divorced. It's just because they've been waiting for the law to change so that they were able to do this. I got divorced 10 years ago now, and it was absolute hell. And the main reason it was hell was because in order to divorce my husband, I had to give a long list of reasons for why I wanted to divorce him. And it meant that it inflamed an already difficult situation. He was upset and unhappy, and I made it 100 times worse by listing all his faults. You can imagine how he felt, and that actually made the divorce go on for a lot longer, and it ended up costing a lot more money and made everyone very unhappy. So I think this is a great change. But
what do you mean, Hilary, when you say that marriage should be more difficult?
Well, it's very easy for people to get married, isn't it? You say, you decide you want to get married and basically you go along and you sign up and you get married. I think people should have to think a lot more carefully about a lot of things before they get married, about finances, about children, about their views, about their religious beliefs, about all kinds of different things.
Maybe, Hillary, people should get counselling before they get married, or even face a marriage test.
Yeah, I think maybe they should, yeah, definitely.
What do you think about that, Tim Dieppe, the idea of a sort of highway code for wannabe newlyweds?
Not a highway code, but I think there is an advantage in having marriage counselling, pre-marriage counselling, put it that way, and talking through it and making sure the couples have talked through various issues and important issues about how they live and how they want to live before they get married. I think that's a good idea. I'd agree with that. That doesn't mean it's a good idea to make it divorce easier. Surely you want to, make it a serious promise and a serious vow. True love wants to commit, and therefore people who marry want to commit and take those vows seriously. And the law should respect that and encourage that, and encourage people to stay faithful to those vows and stay faithful to those promises, and encourage a promise-keeping society in that way.
Tommy Sandhu, Mrs. Sandhu isn't going anywhere.
Well, we've been married 13 years this summer. Indians generally, it's drilled into us. We don't do divorce. We'd rather do a lifetime of misery together, and just be always bitter until our last breath than actually get divorced. So the divorce isn't in the culture, as it were. But I've been with my wife 13 years. I've got very used to being married, and I realised I don't think I could survive without her. Even if she cheated on me and ran off with someone else, I'd just move in with the pair of them, Mark, and just I can't survive on my own. So
yes, well, look, Tommy Sandhu
is not an option.
Tommy Sandhu, why would you go out for a burger when you've got steak at home? Is what I would say to Mrs. Sandhu, and ribeye at that. Ribeye at the very least. What do you think about this, Aisling? Do you think that divorce is too easy now?
No, I don't. I think they should make it easier because there are so many relationships that are so destructive, violent. The children need to come out of that environment of the parents arguing all the time. And if divorce is really difficult and one partner's being controlled by the other, how are they going to get their children out of it? So, yeah, I think this is a brilliant idea. Make it easier.
Liz Grimshaw, do you think there's going to be a big increase now in divorces, given that it is less logistically challenging?
Well, that's what everyone's saying. I personally haven't seen that so far, but we're only a week in. Perhaps we'll see an initial spike, maybe over the next couple of months, but I haven't seen that so far.
Listen, you're obviously very good at what you do, Liz. You're a financial planner, and you help couples who have split to negotiate that settlement in a friendly way. I mean, have you ever helped a couple with a really amicable settlement, or does it always end in conflict and rancor?
So all of my clients are different. Some of them come to us together, some of them are separate, some are amicable, some aren't, but we work through it and try and calculate the best outcome for both parties.
I'm sure you achieved that. Final thoughts, Tim Dieppe. You are Head of Public Policy at Christian Concern. What are your closing thoughts on this, especially if there are couples watching tonight who are thinking, well, now that it's easier, we're going to actually split?
What I'm most concerned about actually is the effect on children. I mean, a recent study showed that divorce actually affects children worse than death of a parent in terms of future educational attainment. Surely we should be encouraging people to stay together. And studies even show that it's better for couples to stay together, even if they're arguing, than it would be for them to split up. So let's try and encourage couples to stay together, and surely the law should do that, and surely that's better for society and better for children.
Liz, how can people find out more about what you do?
They can contact me via our website, which is revivalfp.co.uk.
Brilliant stuff. Well, great to have all of you on the show. Liz Grimshaw is a financial planner, and Tim Dieppe is the Head of Public Policy at Christian Concern. I look forward to catching up with both of you in the near future, although hopefully not about my own arrangements. Fascinating conversation. Is divorce too easy? Let me know what you think. Mark at gbnews.uk. Don't forget, my Mark Meets guest is the star of Benidorm. She's been in movies as well. She's written a book. In fact, she was on that original Opportunity Knocks show in the 80s. She's got quite a story to tell. Chrissy Rock, live at 10, plus alternative news headlines and much more. And keep those emails coming, mark at gbnews.uk. See you shortly.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr. Me and my panel will get stuck right into the day's events, and I can tell you, in fact, I can warn you, expect some robust debates, some strong opinions and perspectives from both sides of the fence. It's about you at home as well. I love to read out all of your comments, or at least as many as I can. So join me, Michelle Dewberry, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr.
On radio, they call it the drive time slot, 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. as listeners head home. It's that part of the schedule when the dust of the day's events begin to clarify, and we try to make sense of it for you. Brazier is drive time for radio and TV. It's fast, it's punchy, it's opinionated, there's a brazier angle and a little bit of levity.
That's the question. That's two questions, actually.
That's Brazier, Monday to Thursday, 4 till 6 on GB News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Christie's.
And I'm Mercy Moroki.
Make sure that you join us Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. until midday, right here on GB News for To The Point.
We're not afraid to talk about the topics that matter to you or the big topics that always matter.
We cover absolutely everything, from the breaking political stories of the day to law and order, what's going on in the channel. We're not afraid to hold people to account.
We always make sure we include your views on our show.
Indeed, if you're thinking it, you can guarantee that we're saying it. So make sure you join the conversation with us, 10 a.m. until midday, Monday to Thursday for To The Point on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Maria has emailed in about divorce. Is it too easy? Mark, your female guest said times change. However, morals definitely shouldn't, surely. Children without a doubt suffer when their parents split, and it's awful for them a second time if their parents get another partner, husband or wife. The children should be the only priority, and adults accept that the parents are secondary and unimportant until the children grow up. Maria, thank you so much for that. Do keep those emails coming. Lots of them to get through. It's been a very busy show so far. Every so often we want to bring you a cracking viral video, and how about this? We've all heard the phrase, dance like no one's watching. Well, this little baby in Scotland certainly lives up to that one. Little Ellie Sinclair has become a sensation, with her video racking up more than 15 million views since Tuesday. So will the real Slim Shady please stand up? Brilliant stuff. Eminem, eat your heart out. Well, fans of reality TV are in for a treat, as the granddaddy of them all is set to return to our screens in 2023. That's right, Big Brother is set to return to ITV next year. Reality TV remains popular with audiences of all ages and backgrounds, but some see it as lazy television, a sleazy look into modern life that's far from reality for most people. But with another reality TV show on our screens to run alongside the likes of Love Island and X on the Beach, is reality TV good for us, or is it harmful to society? Well, I'm delighted to say that, of course, Aisling is with us. And Aisling, you were in Big Brother.
Yeah, I was.
And it changed your life.
It absolutely did. And back then, it was way more organic than any reality TV show that we've got now. Now it's all contrived. Some of it's even scripted. People have agents before they even go onto the show, and it's just very orchestrated and plastic. It's not organic the way Big Brother was back in the day. Yeah. I didn't even have a clue what an agent was. And I had like 15 of them waiting when I left. It was a social experiment, and it was beautiful, and it was organic, and it was great to watch. And it was good for society, because we all sort of learnt different things about different people that we might not usually get to see on TV. So
it started as a fascinating social experiment.
Yes.
Yeah, and then what you're arguing is it became a produced TV show.
Yeah, now it's more produced, as I say, and I think the likes of Love Island probably are dangerous, just because it's showing a false image of beauty, of size, of what's attractive. And so those type of shows I'm not a fan of, and I don't watch, and I don't know who anyone is. Yeah. But Big Brother was definitely a beautiful thing. It was a masterpiece.
Would you do it again?
I mean, if the paycheck was high enough. But I'm not sure. I did it again in 2015, and honestly, it felt different. It didn't feel... I mean, for example, just small things like I could hear the cameraman behind the runs. It felt less... They cared about it less on Channel 5. But perhaps when it's on ITV2, that those type of mistakes won't happen. And it will be more organic, I hope so.
However, is it responsible for celebrity culture and the idea of famous for being famous?
Well, I mean, it's responsible for me, and if I tick those
and that's a good thing. That's a good thing in my book. Probably. But the Kardashian syndrome.
Exactly, but the Kardashians, and I mean, it is what it is, and we have to move with the times. And people like to watch people, and I think that they should bring it back for the younger generation, but bring it back how it was, and not like the new shows.
Hilary, has reality TV been bad for society? Has it cheapened us?
I think in some ways it has. I mean, as a journalist, I remember before Big Brother started, before the whole reality TV explosion, people were interested in real people's lives and what real people had to say. And
we are real people. We were real people.
Yes.
We were.
Indeed. And at the beginning...
Although a few fakes in there with you, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, yeah. True. But not as much as they are now, no.
But at the beginning, people went into Big Brother and watched Big Brother because it was I remember the first one, it was a psychological experiment. And the idea of actually watching people sleep, or watching people just, sit and read a book, which you weren't allowed to do later on, was just, revolutionary.
And they forgot they were on telly.
They forgot they were on telly. And they didn't expect for anything to happen when they came out. Whereas now, it has become incredibly shallow. It's just about looks. It's just about, people who want to become famous, who don't have any particular talent or ability or interest, just wanting to get famous quickly. So I do think that's a bad thing.
And the dangers of that, as we can see from things like Love Island, when it doesn't work out for them when they come out and they think that they're going to be, the next Kardashian, and it doesn't work out, and there isn't maybe the mental health support in place for them, and it's a big shock to the systems. We've lost people. People have taken their own lives as a result.
Including one of the stars of Love Island.
Well,
I mean, have you known people who have essentially suffered at the hands of reality TV because the TV companies did not provide a duty of care?
I think they do. In my case, in my experience, they always have provided a duty of care, but I think it goes beyond that. I think it's not just for the first few months. It goes beyond that. So what about 8 months down the line when all the work stopped and
you've spent the money and you forgot about tax bills?
Exactly that.
But I don't think it's so much. I don't think you should necessarily blame the TV companies either. It's not just about duty of care. It's about it's before that. It's about the people who want to go on these shows. Why do they want to go on there?
Well, I don't think there's anything
damaged
wrong.
people.
I think a lot.
Damaged people.
I think a lot of people now who go on are probably quite damaged.
And the producers love damaged people because damaged people make great telly, don't they? Look at Tommy Santu.
Broken. Completely. But actually, Mark, the whole of the entertainment industry, you could look at it like that. Musicians, can suffer in their business. Actors can suffer in their business. Everybody can be damaged, and everybody can suddenly react.
But they're professionals, aren't they?
Well, are they? They're not until they're further down their line of fame and notoriety, and that's when problems can sometimes emerge. These people, contestants will enter Big Brother houses or reality shows as regular folk, and then the fame comes and the Instagram followers come, and I don't think it's fair to sometimes always blame producers or things are too produced or people are too aware. I think it all kind of goes hand in hand. You go in wanting an experience. I was on Blind Date, back in the day. That was the reality show, before there was more than 5 channels, and you used to get stopped in the street, but that triggered my kind of desire to want to perform, to want to be in front of audiences.
Did you pull,
to
by
be
the way?
loved.
Did you pull them?
I was the puller, Mark.
You were the puller.
I was the picker.
You were the guy on the stool next to the...
I had the power.
My
That's it.
God, well, you still got it, baby. How did the date go?
I thought this was another version of the show. Is it not?
No such luck.
I thought, all right, you've
in your dreams, Sandy. In your dreams. Oh, Mrs. Sandy wants a quickie divorce. She said some Asian people do divorce, actually.
She'd be like, she could have him. She said, have him, take him. Don't let him come back home today. But I'm saying, no, but those shows obviously trigger our careers because we've got a taste for it. But they are brilliant. They're good to watch. We will always love watching other people. I love watching you, right?
Well, listen, we love watching you. What a brilliant panel. I think you'll agree we're travelling business class with my panel tonight. They return very shortly for the final part of the show. We've saved our best till last. Mark meets next. Alternative headlines and much more. See you shortly.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr. Me and my panel will get stuck right into the day's events, and I can tell you, in fact, I can warn you, expect some robust debates, some strong opinions and perspectives from both sides of the fence. It's about you at home as well. I love to read out all of your comments, or at least as many as I can. So join me, Michelle Dewberry, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr.
On radio, they call it the drive time slot, 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. as listeners head home. It's that part of the schedule when the dust of the day's events begin to clarify, and we try to make sense of it for you. Brazier is drive time for radio and TV. It's fast, it's punchy, it's opinionated, there's a Brazier angle and a little bit of levity.
That's the question. That's two questions, actually.
That's Brazier, Monday to Thursday, 4 till 6 on GB News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Christie's.
And I'm Mercy Moroki.
Make sure that you join us Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. until midday, right here on GB News for To The Point.
We're not afraid to talk about the topics that matter to you or the big topics that always matter.
We cover absolutely everything, from the breaking political stories of the day to law and order, what's going on in the channel. We're not afraid to hold people to account.
We always make sure we include your views on our show.
Indeed, if you're thinking it, you can guarantee that we're saying it. So make sure you join the conversation with us, 10 a.m. until midday, Monday to Thursday, for To The Point on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Big reaction to my big opinion monologue, which you can re-watch on Twitter at GB News if you'd like to. Is freedom of speech under threat here in the West? A big response on email as well. To be fair, Mark, says Frank, it's not just Twitter that's going down the censorious route. Global governments, particularly Western governments, who are increasingly authoritarian and communist, are working in lockstep to limit free speech. Next week, the anti-free speech online harms bill comes back to Parliament, and it will mandate Twitter to go harder and faster in curtailing freedom of speech and thought. Thank you for that worrying but important email, Frank. And on Big Brother, Andrew says, hi Mark, the return of Big Brother is a blow for those of us that want an end to idiots on TV. Maybe the participants are good at other stuff. It doesn't look like it. Reality TV, says Elizabeth, is just cheap, trashy television. We need well-made dramas and documentaries. This just gives people the idea they can get instant fame without having any talent. Dear Mark, Big Brother ? Says Dave, pure voyeurism. And let's finish on this. Is divorce now too easy? John says, hi Mark, my wife and I argued all the time, but stuck together, and our son is a well-balanced individual who understands that life is not a fairy tale. Most of his friends whose parents divorced have serious issues. It's selfish claptrap to say that children are happier if their parents are happy. Stick together. That's why 3,000 years of society created marriage. It's better for children. And that's Charles in Yorkshire. Charles, thank you for that. And your good lady is a very, very lucky lady indeed. After the headlines, we've got my alternative news headlines. And once again, starring in them
is the Hollywood actress, the amazing Nicole Kidman. Plus, my Mark Meets guest is the actress from Benidorm. She's done movies, she's written a book. Chrissy Rock, stand-up comedian. She worked with Bob Monkhouse. She is live in the next couple of minutes. Plus, more from my amazing panel as well, and another game show. So much to get through. First up, the headlines. A little delayed, Miranda.
Thank you, Mark. The top stories from the GB newsroom. Russia has taken steps to ban the Prime Minister and other senior members of the cabinet from entering the country. Included in the group of 13, alongside Boris Johnson, are Liz Truss, Ben Wallace, as well as Scotland's First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon. Moscow says hostile action by the British government, plus a raft of sanctions against it, are behind the move. Meanwhile, Russia has released a video claiming to show the head of its navy meeting the crew of the sunken warship Moskva. It's claimed by Moscow that all 500 on board who were rescued when the vessel sank in the Black Sea will continue to serve in the Navy. Admiral Nikolai Yevmenov is seen speaking to the servicemen, but it isn't clear when the footage was taken. But the US has suggested there were Russian casualties after 2 Ukrainian missiles hit the warship on Thursday. More than 6,000 migrants have crossed the Channel to reach the UK so far this year. Over 3,000 came in March alone, 4 times more than the number recorded in the same month last year. The Navy took over operational command of handling those attempting the journey on Thursday as part of the planned transfer of asylum seekers to Rwanda. It's as the Home Secretary claims other countries could now copy the UK's proposals, despite the UN Refugee Agency branding them illegal. A former Met police officer says he's planning to bring a private prosecution over the shooting of PC Yvonne Fletcher in 1984. John Murray was working with the 25-year-old when she was killed in London while policing a demonstration against the former Libyan leader Colonel Gaddafi. A High Court judge found Gaddafi aide Salah Ibrahim Mabrouk jointly liable for her death last year. Speaking at a service to mark 38 years since the officer's murder, John Murray says he won't rest until he gets justice for his colleague.
The end point for me will be when Salah Mabrouk appears in a criminal court and is convicted of Yvonne's murder.
And 6 protesters have been arrested after climate change activists targeted an oil tanker in central London. Extinction Rebellion say a number of people, including Olympic gold medalist Etienne Stott and fellow British Olympian Laura Baldwin, climbed onto the Shell tanker this morning. Well, on TV, online and DAB Plus radio, this is GB News. Back now to Mark.
It's time now for my alternative news headlines, and yesterday we brought you the shocking news that the Hollywood actress Nicole Kidman has had all of her hair chopped off. It's now in a short bob, according to the papers. Well, we've managed to secure some more exclusive images of Nicole's new hairdo. Here she is beforehand, and I think you'll agree she looks fabulous. Okay, long flowing locks, what a beauty. And here she is after. Spellbinding. Now, the Mail newspaper are reporting that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, may have sneaked into Windsor Castle to meet the Queen in a builder's-type van, one a bit like this one. Take a look. Yeah, how glamorous. Well, here on Mark Dolan tonight, we've been conducting our own line of inquiry about which vehicle Harry and Meghan may have used to get themselves into the royal residence. How about this? Did they rush to the Queen in one of these? Meghan goes bananas. Or perhaps it was a fly drive. Or maybe they came in one of these. Perhaps the Queen likes a 99 flake. Back to lovely Nicole Kidman and that haircut. I can't believe it. Here she is before the chop. I just love the shade. I love those curls. And here she is after. Ooh, the shape of you. Going back to royal news now, and our wonderful Queen has revealed that her favourite song is a hit from the legendary songwriter Cole Porter. The song is called Miss Otis Regrets. Well, it got us to thinking here on the show, which other tunes our great monarch boogies on down to? So here is our official royal playlist. God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols, obviously. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Purple Rain. One Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, what a classic. Candelabra in the Wind by Elton John. One Wants to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. Blue, Blood Brothers the Musical. One Knighthood in Heaven. Anything by Prince, obviously. And last but not least, Mamma Mia. Chart-topping stuff. Who doesn't love the Queen? Let's take one last look at the Queen of Hollywood, Nicole Kidman, and her new look hairstyle. Here she is before seeing the crimpers, and I think you'll agree she's got it just right. I love that shade. And here she is after. Blimey, what a mouthful. And those are your alternative news headlines. I love a Big Mac. It's time now for Mark Meets, in which I speak to the biggest names in the world of politics, sports, showbiz and beyond. Tonight, actress, stand-up comedian, best-selling author and star of the smash hit sitcom Benidorm, Christine Murray, known to millions, of course, as Chrissy Rock. Chrissy started her career as a comedian in the late 80s on Bob Monkhouse's Opportunity Knocks talent show. There followed a successful career on stage and screen, culminating in her film role as Maggie Conlon in that incredible movie Lady Bird, directed by Ken Loach. And of course, she played Janie York memorably in Benidorm. What a show. She's also had her fair share of reality TV stardom, appearing in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here and Celebrity, Come Dine With Me. She also published her autobiography, This Heart Within Me Burns, which became an instant bestseller. There followed the hit novel Revenge is Sweeter Than Flowing Honey. What a career, what a lady. I'm delighted to say that Chrissy Rock joins me now. Hi, Chrissy.
Hello, love, you all right?
So, well, great to have you on the show. Were you a particularly theatrical child?
Sorry?
Were you a performer as a child?
No. I couldn't do nothing.
So when did it start? When were you first on a stage, or when did you first get an audience, Chrissy?
Well, we all went out for the Grand National. And then what happened was they betted me in a competition that I wouldn't enter for Greenall Whitley Pub Comedian of the Year.
Wow.
So my cousin Janet, she betted me £1 and filled the form in, and then it all went from there.
And what sort of age were you when you entered that competition, Chrissy?
Well, I was 30, about 31.
I can't believe
and
it.
And then I done for guide dogs, charities, because you can't buy the trade. You have to get on the stage and live and die. And if you've never died, you've never lived.
You're absolutely right. I speak from experience on that one, Chrissy. And how did that first gig go?
Well, it was a bit hit and miss because it was only 15 minutes then, and 15 minutes felt like 50 days. You know, and there's been times when I've walked off to the sound of my own footsteps, but as I said, if you've never died, you've never lived.
Too right, absolutely right. It's only upon failure that you can build success. And I'm living testament to that, let me tell you, Chrissy. So what did you do all those years before you were a performer? What did you do in your 20s?
Nothing really. I just had my kids and just looked after them and done a bit of, you know, housework. I was just a normal person. But I still look at myself as just a normal person with ordinary friends. I don't have showbiz friends. I just live a normal life and then with an unusual job.
Well, of course, and it is amazing the success you've had. Was there a moment when you thought, actually, I could really give this a go? This could be a living?
Well, when I got asked to turn professional, I went to me kids and me husband, who was married to then. I said, look, if I cross this line, I can't come back. So I either stop now or I cross the line. But once I cross the line, I'm not coming back from it. And I've sacrificed so much. I mean, I've spent more times on a hard shoulder on the motorway than Quasimodo shared on my own. I've had Christmases on my own, birthdays on my own, and, you know, my family's grown up, and I've lived out the boot of my car. I had to make them sacrifices, and more so because being a woman, because a lot of back then they went, oh, she's not going to turn up, you know, she'll have a problem, she's had a row, she's done this, she's done that, she won't get a babysitter. And I had to overcome all them hurdles. Yeah. And I had to say, that's it. So once I crossed that line, I wasn't coming back for nobody.
You knew that you had to go for it. I mean, obviously, you've had a great career. Any regrets about crossing that line?
No. The only regret I've got is I didn't anticipate that it was going to go as far as it went, and fortune never came with fame. Everyone thinks if you're famous, you're a millionaire, but fortune never came with fame, and I don't regret that. I do it because I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. It's never been to get millions in the bank. It's a service I like to give.
And are you on good...
And I enjoy it.
Yeah, Chrissy, are you on good terms with the family now, given the inevitable sacrifices that you had to make? What do the kids make of you now?
Well, you know, they're all right with it. They knew, you know, they had holidays that they would never have had. You know, if I was just sitting in the house, not working, you know, they had just as much. But then, as I said, a mother always buys the kids everything because that compensates for them not being there, and that's a big mistake to make. Yeah. I wouldn't make that mistake again.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's true, borne out by many people watching this show. And what about your stand-up? Your big break, I guess, was on the Bob Monkhouse show, Bob's Opportunity Knocks.
I know. Mind you, I did get beat by a set of Irish dancers from Scotland.
Oh, OK. I thought you were going to say Irish wolfhounds. At least they were humans.
Yeah, they were humans, yeah. But it was unbelievable. And to have that acknowledgement that Bob Monkhouse gave me, and he said that I had the sheer art of timing. So that's
amazing. That's high praise from the king of comic timing. How did you find Bob generally? Was he friendly? Was he encouraging?
He was lovely, and every time he was in the northwest area, he'd contact me and send me tickets to come and see him. So I went to see him in quite a few places, you know. And then I done we were all in triangles. What was it?
Oh, Celebrity Squares, was it?
Celebrity Squares. I got invited on Celebrity Squares twice when he hosted it. So he was quite friendly with us over the years. Yeah. So that was nice.
And from stand-up...
The person was Julie Walters.
Oh, really?
She was very friendly, yeah.
You were
me a lovely letter. I still have it.
When did you meet Julie Walters?
I was in a film with her called Brazen Hussies, and it was just unbelievable. And when I first met her, I was like, oh, you know, to see people who, you see, to me, they still, I've got some fabulous stories. I remember when I was in Berlin and I won the Silver Bear, and I didn't realise I'd won the Silver Bear. And I pressed the button in the lift to go down. And when the lift door opened, Morgan Freeman was standing in the lift. And it was just dim, and I stepped in and I went, oh, and backing up like that. And I couldn't think of his name, and I went, Driver Miss Daisy. And he went, I said, can I have your autograph? And he went, I don't do autographs. I don't give autographs. I said, it's okay. I haven't got a pen. And then in the night, he was the one that gave me the award for the Silver Bear. And then he went, oh, would you still like that autograph? I said, I still haven't got a pen.
No, well, you didn't need it at that point. He knew exactly who you were. He should have been asking for your autograph. Was that for Lady Bird, Lady Bird?
That was Lady Bird, Lady Bird. That was unbelievable.
And, of course, you worked with the incredible film director Ken Loach. You won rave reviews, and it was an award-winning performance. How did that change your life, Chrissy?
It was unbelievable. I didn't let it change my life. It helped me to get on in my career. It helped me immensely for my career. But I wouldn't let it change. See, I've come from a family that we've never had anything. We all live together, and if it wasn't for aunties bringing spuds and another auntie bringing carrots, we'd have probably starved to death. But we were poor, but we didn't know we were poor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And my grandmother always installed in us, never demand respect, earn it.
Yeah.
Always earn. Don't ever be someone you're not. And it's always kept me grounded. You know, people see me in the Lidl and the Aldi and they go, what are you doing in here? And I went, I'm shopping. What do you think I'm doing in here? It's like, can't I go to the Aldi? Because, you know, I've just seen you on the telly before.
You've kept your roots. And let's be honest, completely agree with you. The steaks at Aldi and the wine is fantastic. So, you know, people are missing a trick if they don't go there. How about that transition from stand-up to acting? Was that a difficult one? Did you go to drama school? Did you get lessons?
No, I didn't. I just, that was with Ken Loach was the very first thing. He just said, just, if this was happening to you, what would you do? So that's all I did. I just pretended that I was this person. And that's all I did. I didn't, like, have lessons. I mean, I was still mentally scarred for not being allowed to be in the nativity play at school. You know, not even a sheep was I.
Listen, I don't want to typecast you.
To be a sheep.
No, I think,
but,
yeah. Natural Virgin Mary, Chrissy.
Listening to Ken Loach. And it was like he was taking you across this precipice on a plank. And he'd say, hold my hand and I'll get you across here. But just trust me. And that's all I did, I trusted him.
And listen, a million things that you've done on telly, both on game shows, in reality TV, and of course, in dramas and comedies. Well, another big moment in your career, big break, will have been that part in Benidorm. Did you audition for that role?
No, I was in Morgan's Tavern, and it came out one night, and two men and a woman came and said, can I have a word with you? We've wrote this thing for the television, and we want to know, would you be the manageress of the hotel? And I was the only one that never auditioned.
And the rest is history, Chrissy. The rest is history. Tell me about working on that show. You were on location in a very sunny, pleasant spot, right?
It was fantastic. But when you had to turn the air conditioning off and things like that for the sound, it was like, we were all dripping. It was like a sweat box because it was done in the summer and it was indoors. But when you were outside, it was okay. But it was still hot.
Yeah, it must have been quite fun when you wrapped for the day. Straight to the beach.
No. You go straight back to your room and learn more lines for the next day and get a sleep.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was filmed from 7 in the morning till 6 at night because if it was done in Neptune's bar, the bar opened to the public at 7 o'clock. So you had to be out, and you might have got picked up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to get in the makeup and wardrobe, and then it was just
who knew
waiting.
We thought it was one long paid holiday. How wrong we were, Chrissy. And just tell me about working with those brilliant actors and working on such a big show enjoyed by millions.
It's lovely. And if you go to Benidorm now and you go to Matteo's bar, you know, Darren has got a bar there with all the memorabilia of Benidorm. So it's nice. And I still see them and they say hello. And, you know, if everyone sees one another, it's nice. So, you know, it's what it is.
You've obviously, Chrissy, I mean, you've done everything. You wrote your autobiography, which was a bestseller, This Heart Within Me Burns. And, of course, you've done reality TV as well. You were in The Jungle with Mark Wright, Anthony Cotton, Lorraine Chase, Pat Sharp, Sunita, Stephanie Powers from Heart to Heart, Freddie Starr. Are you comfortable as yourself on TV?
Yes, I'm very comfortable. I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not. And that was what was fantastic, to go to the jungle and see how these people who have to have, you know, an entourage of people around them, and to see them stripped of everything, how they would cope. But it was still like everything. Being in the jungle, I didn't need to win or didn't want to win. I'd already won by getting in there. You know, that was my win. I didn't go in there because I'm not a competitive person. I just go with the flow and that's it. So maybe if I'd been more hungrier for the fame, I've just done it as a job I absolutely adore. Everything I do. I've just wrote a 6-part, well, it's a trailer at the minute called The Tungsten Flyers, about it's a dysfunctional pub with dysfunctional women who end up making a darts team and becoming to the top of the league with it. So I've wrote that with Vinnie Cleghorn. I'm in the middle at the moment doing Menopause the Musical too, which is amazing for Robert C. Kelly. And then I've got Leah Bell with Dirty Dustin. You know, so I am quite lucky. And I was a bit upset during the lockdown because I felt like I'd lost 2 years of my life. And then when you're talking about reality programmes, I thought to myself, at my age now, have I missed the boat? And then I think, well, no, I haven't. You know, I wouldn't want to be those people who have to feel they have to have everything done to themselves to be famous. Yeah. You know, I'm just me. I do my own roots. I don't go the hairdressers. You can tell.
We've got that in common, Chrissy. Look, it's been a privilege to have you on the show. What a career, what a life, and the story continues. You're not done yet, are you?
Well, thank you for having us on.
Listen, such a thrill. You're an amazing person, Chrissy, and I do hope you'll come and see us in the studio when you're in London. We'd love to have you. I think it'll be a brilliant conversation. The amazing Chrissy Rock, actress, writer, comedian. She's done it all. Brilliant stuff. Lots more to come in the news agenda. Do beautiful women have a hard luck story to tell in this modern world? Is it a problem being attractive? In 2022, we'll discuss that with my panel, plus another great British game show as well. And next up, US News with the Queen of American showbiz, royal and political reporting, Kinsey Schofield. Lots to get through. Is it game over for Joe Biden? We'll answer that question next.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr. Me and my panel will get stuck right into the day's events, and I can tell you, in fact, I can warn you, expect some robust debates, some strong opinions and perspectives from both sides of the fence. It's about you at home as well. I love to read out all of your comments, or at least as many as I can. So join me, Michelle Dewberry, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr.
On radio, they call it the drive time slot, 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. as listeners head home. It's that part of the schedule when the dust of the day's events begin to clarify, and we try to make sense of it for you. Brazier is drive time for radio and TV. It's fast, it's punchy, it's opinionated, there's a Brazier angle and a little bit of levity.
That's the question. That's two questions, actually.
That's Brazier, Monday to Thursday, 4 till 6 on GB News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Christie's.
And I'm Mercy Moroki.
Make sure that you join us Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. until midday, right here on GB News for To The Point.
We're not afraid to talk about the topics that matter to you or the big topics that always matter.
We cover absolutely everything, from the breaking political stories of the day to law and order, what's going on in the channel. We're not afraid to hold people to account.
We always make sure we include your views on our show.
Indeed, if you're thinking it, you can guarantee that we're saying it. So make sure you join the conversation with us, 10 a.m. until midday, Monday to Thursday, for To The Point on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
I'll get to more of your brilliant emails shortly, mark@gbnews.uk. But let's react to the big stories of the day with my fantastic panel. Still with me, Hilary Freeman, journalist and agony aunt. Tommy Sandu, podcast, broadcaster and comedian as well. A very multi-talented chap he is. And reality TV star and entrepreneur, Aisling Horgan-Wallace. Brilliant stuff. It's time now for US News before we get to our big stories of the day. And let's welcome the Queen of American showbiz, royal and political reporting, Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, happy Easter.
Happy Easter. I love your face. Good to see you.
Oh, well, I bet you say that to all the boys. Now, where are you hiding your eggs this year?
Good Lord. That is, I don't have anything clever to say. All I can do is blush.
Someone else that's blushing is Joe Biden, who's taking a kicking in the polls. Some think there will be a rout for the Democrats in the midterm elections. What's your view?
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. He has taken a hit with Hispanics recently. We're seeing in polling that Hispanics are turning their backs on Joe Biden. Also, recently, young adults, which when I read that, I was actually offended to learn that I am no longer considered a young adult when I saw what the polling statistics were. But young adults are actually turning their backs on Joe Biden, too. So the Democratic Party is really concerned. How are they going to... I think at this point, it's not about saving this candidate. It's not about saving this individual. It's who can we rely on to replace him with? And there really is no clear person. There's no clear picture of who could save the Democratic Party at this point.
And why can't it be the vice president? Because that would be the normal go-to.
You know, the vice president really does not have anybody's trust and really doesn't have anybody, what she was assigned to do, Kamala Harris, when it was protect the border. And we are seeing so many people crossing the border, and we are seeing that there is no concern about it. Crime has increased in those border towns. So I think that Kamala Harris is clearly not who they would turn to. While you're right, that should be the individual that everybody would lean on. I think that the Democratic Party has realized that they've made two very real mistakes and putting all of their weight on these people. And frighteningly enough, I'm also hearing that there's conversations about Kamala and Hillary running together. And my God, would that not be a frightening combination?
It would indeed. Certainly keep a lot of people awake at night. I believe we've got some recent footage from this week of Joe Biden shaking hands with no one. Take a look at this, Kinsey. Can we lose that strap, folks? Let's have a look. There you go. Amazing. No, he's just, where's he off to? Do I turn left?
Oh, no.
Do I turn right?
Mark, I think you're looking at this the completely wrong way. If you look at this footage, what you see is Joe Biden shaking hands with all of the dead people that voted for him in the 2020 election.
Nicely done. Tom, let's see if we can run that one again, because we just got to get the bit where he shakes hands with thin air. Let's load that one more time, because it's understandably gone viral. But this, of course, is a president, Kinsey, that goes viral every week. Let's take another look. Here we go.
Oh, there's the ghost of Mary Edwards in Tampa, Florida, who's been deceased for the last 7 years. Voted Joe Biden.
This guy goes viral every week. I mean, I don't want to make light of any cognitive issues he may have. I would actually suggest I'm quite sympathetic to his plight. But it's a problem for America, and it's a problem for the free world, particularly given the war in Ukraine.
Absolutely. That's so funny that you say that, because I was watching your station, and I saw, I believe it was Farage, and somebody that used to work for Biden said that if Trump was in the White House right now, that he would be rallying for Putin. I cannot stress to you enough how much that is incorrect information. If Trump was in the White House right now, there is no way that Putin would have the cojones to do what he is doing right now, because what Putin's trying to do is he envies America's status. He wants to be a stronger country, and so I feel like that's what he's doing with Ukraine. It's ego, it's power. That's what he wants to do, and he has the ability to pursue that right now, because our president is deemed so weak, not a threat, not somebody that's going to go after him, and that is the only reason why this is happening right now. And this weight, it weighs on Americans. It weighs on, I certainly didn't vote for the man, but I would hope that it weighs on the people that voted for him, that we have put the world in a really unsettling position.
That's right. I don't think it's left versus right. Just a president that actually knows he's president, knows why he went into that room in the first place, somebody that is of sound mind, somebody fit for high office. We know the extent to which the media scrutinised Donald Trump over his 4 years in the White House, and yet the liberal press in America strangely quiet about Joe Biden's almost weekly senior moments. Let's talk about Harry and Meghan next, shall we, Kinsey? A sneak visit into Windsor Castle to meet the Queen. We didn't see that one coming, did we?
I don't think so. And you know what's so interesting to me is, how can security be so dangerous that you can't show up to your grandfather's memorial, but you have the ability to sneak into this country and walk around the Windsor estate, and you're waving at people that are tourists that are there. It just totally throws away their entire storyline that they were in fear, and that is why they didn't attend Prince Philip's memorial. It does seem like this was a puzzle piece that was necessary so that Invictus Games could go off without a hitch, and it would look like everything is okay. And you should rally around Invictus Games, and you should rally around this Prince Harry's concept, because everything's cool now. We've made amends. But I don't really think that that's what transpired. I think it was a courtesy visit. I'm sure they sat around and looked at baby pictures on their iPhones, and it was. I don't think that there was any heavy apologies or negotiations about the future for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. But it was a step in the right direction, and I was glad to see it, because I know that Queen Elizabeth was probably very grateful to see one of her favorite grandchildren.
Yeah, let's hope that that relationship is beginning to thaw out, as you say, if for no other reason than for Granny, or Great Granny, I guess, and the grandchildren. Now, let's crack on, because this is a rather interesting story, and I want, Kinsey, you to be part of it. A woman has claimed that to be able to get ahead with her career because of her good looks, men are more willing to do her favours. Another stated that being attractive has its downsides, including unwanted attention for men and critique from other women. So what do we think about this? Is life more difficult for beautiful women? What do you think about this, Kinsey? Hollywood, of course, home of the beautiful people. Do beautiful women get a hard rap in life?
I mean, I don't know if they get. I don't know why you're asking me this. I'm very insecure, so I don't know. I would say the only reason I think I might be attractive is because there's a page called Wiki Feet, and I found pictures of my feet on it that someone else uploaded. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe I'm maybe I'm a 5 if people are taking pictures of my feet and uploading them on the internet. But I don't know. I think that it's a double-edged sword. Yes, you might get out of a speeding ticket, but yes, you might also have a coworker that's ugly to you because she's a little bit jealous of you because you didn't have to have a nose job. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you do wonder, and you must not have any insecurity because you are the ultimate Saturday night babe on Mark Dolan tonight, Kinsey Schofield. What do you think about this, Tommy? Do you think that life is tough for beautiful women?
I'm a little bit worried that you called Kinsey the Saturday night babe while I'm sat right here.
Good point. There's competition.
And I do think also if people are putting up pictures of your feet, maybe that's a sign that you're not that attractive. I'm just saying, because I would imagine that your face should go. But I'm just saying, Kinsey, sorry, just to balance it out. Well, you know, it's hard for me, you know, being an attractive man. You know, all the attention you get. I think people are animals, Mark. We are naturally drawn to good-looking people. You know, I've never. If I got out of the car and someone cut me up in traffic and it was a really attractive woman, I think I'd probably ease off a little bit. I don't know why, because I think we're animals deep down, somewhere deep down. But in the workplace, it's a different scenario. I think in a workplace, you have to treat people on merit, and I think that's where those kind of animal instincts you have to put aside and kind of say, well, I'm going to judge this person on them. But I've seen it with guys as well as with women. I've seen pretty boys, and I've seen, you know, the way the rest of the office will react to them, and it's very different to the way maybe I get treated.
Well, listen, of course, Tommy and I are the controls in the experiment, but the reason why we're having this conversation is because we've got Kinsey, Hillary and Ashleen on the show tonight. So, Ashleen, what do you think? I mean, you are famously beautiful. You've done cover shoots. You are a very attractive lady, and you've been very much in demand, I guess because of your personality and your looks. Is it a problem? Is there a downside?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you. I don't see myself like that. I think it's all my personality. I'm not going to lie to you. But there is definitely a downside and an upside. It is a double-edged sword. You know, I can use my looks, if you like, or my assets, whatever you want to call it, to sort of get favours and get jobs done quicker. For example, if I've got builders, I can use it to my advantage. But then sometimes it's a disadvantage. So, because, you know, you have unwanted attention as well. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, really.
Yeah. What do you think, Hillary? You're very good on the psychology side of things. You are, of course, an agony aunt as well. Do your clients have more problems if they're beautiful?
I can't say I ever get anybody writing to me who's complaining about being beautiful. I mean, I do think that good-looking people have a lot of advantages in life. I know that I've read that in court cases, defendants who are good looking are much more less likely to be found guilty. And of course, you've got like the serial killer. I can't think of his name now.
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy. Thank you.
What a babe.
Yeah, really handsome guy.
I got to say, I'm not going to lie. I'd have taken my chances with that guy. I know, like, I can change you, big boy. You're misunderstood. You just need a hug.
But you weren't his type, were you? But
Not
yeah,
really.
but the thing is, seriously though, like that was really disarming, wasn't it? Because no one would have thought he was a serial killer.
Yes.
You know, so that's why women got into his car or helped him or whatever. So, yeah, I think life is is unfair to people who are very good looking, but you know that's life.
In Hollywood, it's the opposite, isn't it, Kinsey? I mean, if you're not attractive, you just should probably just get out of Dodge, basically. There's a great line from Howard Stern, the radio DJ and shock jock, who said, an ugly man with no money should cut off his penis.
Howard Stern, you know, ironically not the most attractive man, though, and made a real big name for himself in Hollywood. So
it's a good point. I guess the money helps. But this is an issue, isn't it? In Hollywood, everything is skin deep.
No, I completely agree with you, but you are seeing a rise thanks to streaming and thanks to there being so much new content out there. You are seeing a rise in character actors. So you are seeing people that look a little different. You wouldn't have seen those people on 90210 or on Dallas, you know, to throw it back. But you do see a lot of character actors now thanks to streaming and thanks to there being so much new content being made.
OK, well, look, let's go through each of the panel. I'll start with you, Ashleen. I'm going to put you on the spot. If you could choose a very clever person that was ugly or a very beautiful person that was thick, which would you choose?
A very clever person that was ugly.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
Are you mad?
No, I would to be in a relationship with?
Well, I suppose so. Yeah.
I want interesting conversation, not just a pretty canvas to look at.
Really?
And also, they might be able to laugh me into bed. Who knows?
Yeah.
If they're clever.
I might go for the canvas. You know what I mean? Yeah. We don't have to talk. Tommy Sandu.
Yeah.
Looks, experience.
Mark.
breakup.
It's looks, Mark. Mark, I've got enough personality. I'm not going to. I'm not shy about that. I know what I can bring to the table. Conversation, and that's my department. And so, actually, it wouldn't be fair on the kids to give them 2 doses of conversation. You've got to have some looks in the mix as well. So my missus, I've got to say, she's very attractive.
Yes, she is.
But that's all she brings to the table.
Attractive, but of course with prolonged sight issues for which we extend our sympathy. She never went to Specsavers. Hillary, what are ugly people bringing to the party? Do they have any selling points?
Well, what's an ugly person?
I can show you pictures.
Okay, yeah,
we can go through half of Parliament if you like.
It is subjective. I actually once wrote an article about the fact that my boyfriend is objectively much better looking than me.
Oh, stop it.
No, seriously, and it made me insecure. And the comments that you can imagine that illustrated this article in the paper were, one of them, the one I remember most, said that my boyfriend, who's now my civil partner, looked like a half-melted Martin Kemp waxwork, which I thought was... But it just shows you that But you didn't ask me if I would rather have a handsome...
Well, yeah, what's your preference?
Well, I would rather have someone with a good personality who wasn't good looking. But as a woman, if you ask me, would I rather be ugly and clever or stupid and beautiful? I would rather be stupid and beautiful, because life as a woman, being ugly, is much more difficult than as a man.
Can't we find a happy medium?
Yeah.
No, it's one or the other.
Ashleen, do you think this is divided down gender lines and that it's women that are expected to be beautiful?
Of course, yeah. I like the animal kingdom where the men have to be more beautiful and have the colours and peacocks. Well, most of the birds, yeah. I prefer that because it's draining having to look this good all the time.
I know, I struggle with it. Kinsey, in the end, certainly in Hollywood, as we've said, it's very, very skin deep. What do ugly people do in California?
Oh my gosh.
How would she know?
I guess, is it plumbing? Do they do the electrics? Accountancy?
You know what ugly people do in California is they wait a lot of tables until they can get that plastic surgery, Mark. That's what they do.
No, they're literally all beautiful over there. Even the waiters and waitresses and plumbers.
Well, Kinsey, we love your face, to echo your kind comments earlier, and there's not a single thing we change about you. You're impossibly clever and beautiful, and of course you return in a week's time. And do check out Kinsey's brilliant website. It's a proper great resource for royal fans. It's called To Die For Daily. And thanks to my panel, who return in a couple of minutes with another great British game show. So excited about that. And also, we're going to do another news agenda. What's it going to be tonight, Tom? There you go. There you go. It's right. It's actually fascinating. It's about accents. Does it matter what accent your kid has? We'll talk about that next.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr. Me and my panel will get stuck right into the day's events, and I can tell you, in fact, I can warn you, expect some robust debates, some strong opinions and perspectives from both sides of the fence. It's about you at home as well. I love to read out all of your comments, or at least as many as I can. So join me, Michelle Dewberry, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on Jubes and Kerr.
On radio, they call it the drive time slot, 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. as listeners head home. It's that part of the schedule when the dust of the day's events begin to clarify, and we try to make sense of it for you. Brazier is drive time for radio and TV. It's fast, it's punchy, it's opinionated, there's a Brazier angle and a little bit of levity.
That's the question. That's 2 questions, actually.
That's Brazier, Monday to Thursday, 4 till 6 on GB News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Christie's.
And I'm Mercy Moroki.
Make sure that you join us Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. until midday, right here on GB News for To The Point.
We're not afraid to talk about the topics that matter to you or the big topics that always matter.
We cover absolutely everything, from the breaking political stories of the day to law and order, what's going on in the channel. We're not afraid to hold people to account.
We always make sure we include your views on our show.
Indeed, if you're thinking it, you can guarantee that we're saying it. So make sure you join the conversation with us, 10 a.m. until midday, Monday to Thursday, for To The Point on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
On beautiful women, Declan says, beautiful women, too much hard work. It's what comes out of a woman's mouth that attracts me. I think I've taken that the right way. And how about this from... Oh, yes, Richie says, wow, Kinsey doesn't think she's attractive. Impossible. There you go. Lovely. Lots of love for Kinsey, and a great debate there we've had about whether beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Still with me, my fabulous panel of Aisling, Tommy and Hilary. The actor Cillian Murphy has revealed that he has moved back to his native Ireland after his children began to develop posh English accents. Kind of ironic, given that he made his name playing a character with a strong Brummie accent. So should your accent matter? Are we too fixated on what our accents say about us? Hilary, what do you think? We're a bit accent focused?
I think it's very much a British thing, isn't it? I mean, my partner's French. I haven't got a clue whether he's
How did that happen? Long story.
Long story. But I haven't got a clue what his accent's like. As far as I'm, he could talk like the equivalent artist, but I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah. He could be France's Mickey Flanagan for all you know.
Exactly. I don't think so, but he could be. And he but British accents, we are very, very. They're very important, and they say a lot about us. And we instantly make judgments about people. And I think, I've got a kind of nothingy sort of North London accent.
Is it RP, received pronunciation?
No, I don't think
do you speak the Queen's English?
No, but I can do if I want to. But I can also, I can posh it up, and I can sort of dumb it down if I need to.
That's quite good.
Well, you've got to do that.
You're socially mobile.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. But should we? I mean, like, for example, when it comes to parents and their kids, often kids have a different life experience. Maybe they go to a different type of school or grow up in a different area. Should it matter that kids don't have the same accent as mum and dad?
I don't think it should matter, but I think it's quite hard. I think it's like if your children are very different from you, it's very hard to relate to. And I think parents want their children to be like them. I think that's a natural instinct, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or to do better. And I mean, I actually know somebody who was Scottish, who lived in London, and their kids came home from school and started sort of talking in a sort of South London accent, and they moved back to Scotland, so very similar.
Is that right?
To Murphy, yeah. They're like, oh no, really, no, we're Scottish, we don't like this.
Well, I've got friends who moved to America, and they had some job opportunities in California. And they got married there, and then they had kids, and they came straight back to the UK when the kids were of school age, because they said, we don't want our kids to be American.
Yeah.
We want British kids. Yeah. Is that a bit harsh, Aisling?
Americans love the British accent because they think we sound clever. But they haven't really got a clue about posh and cockney. And me, I love an accent, me. And I adapt my accent wherever I go. And I think accents are what give us character and define us and differentiate us as well. So, yeah, I think there's too much put into it.
Have you got kids?
No.
Would you like your kids, though, to have an accent like yours, so that it's very clear you're their mummy and that they share your values and your life experience?
Well, it's funny because my mum was quite well spoken, and then I'm like from Camden Town, and I sound really like urban. So she didn't really like it, but She's Irish as well, so she was either Irish. If she was around her Irish family, then she'd speak sort of with an Irish accent. And then when I was growing up, I was just like, bro, like, what do you mean, Mom? She hated it, but you're a product of your environment, so it is what it is.
And also sometimes, I mean, if you come, let's say that you've got parents who have come from maybe a more working class background, and then they've educated their kids privately, the kids are going to sound different, aren't they?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
go
it's what it
figure.
is.
I mean, I'm imagining the Beckham's kids are a bit posher than David and Victoria.
Exactly that.
Yeah. And they've definitely got better weddings, haven't they?
Proper weddings. Look at that. Well, marrying into billionaire money now is another level. My kids, well, my wife's family's from Birmingham, so every now and then my kids start speaking.
How did that happen?
I was doing my bit for the community. It's good for the CV.
You went to the same bar as Hillary.
The
undateables. I'm, of course, joking.
So they come out with the odd word in Birmingham. I don't know what to call it, right? And they say bath every now and then. I'll pull them up on it. I go, it's bath. It's not a bath. So you're right. You're my kids. While you're in this house, you'll speak how I speak. Cockney.
I got that. My kids say bath. I go, no, it's shower. It's shower. Have you seen The Price of Energy?
It's called bucket.
Yeah, it's called bucket once a week, if you're lucky. Well, look, it's time now for our Great British Game Show. And it's an amazing, amazing story. I can't wait to tell you about this. Researchers in Japan have discovered that cats know not only the name of their owner, but can also recognise the monikers of their feline friends. For real, I kid you not. But how well do my panel and you at home know their famous pussies? Let's play a game of Pussies Galore. This programme's not just thrown together, you know.
No.
Let's have a look at our first celebrity cat. Who is this, folks?
Oh, it's Top Cat.
Top Cat, who lives in a
Boss
bin.
Cat. Is it Boss Cat or Top Cat?
Well, he's Top Cat, but there's a reference to Boss Cat in the song, in the opening theme.
Right.
Yeah, and it's, by the way, one of the great theme tunes of TV.
How's it going, Mark?
Top Cat, he's indisputable, the greatest cat in town. He's the top, he's the best, he's everyone's best, he's the best. Top Cat. Yeah! I'm not sure that deserved a round of applause, but thanks for your sympathy. How about our next celebrity cat? Who is this?
Simba.
No, it's from Jungle Book. It's Shere Khan.
It is Shere Khan from the Jungle Book. Yeah. Well done. Oh, you're absolutely smashing this one straight into a classic Disney there. OK, next up, who's our next celebrity? Feline. Cat Deeley, well done.
Another Brummie.
Nice
I bet she says bath.
2 right. OK, next up, who have we got? Our next celebrity cat?
Oh, that's...
James Bond.
No, it's not. It's from... what's it?
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers' cat, yeah.
And it's Mr. Bigglesworth.
That's it.
Right.
OK, how about our next celebrity cat? Let's have a look.
Oh.
Pussycat dolls.
Well done, Ashley.
All of them.
Excellent work. Straight in there. That was a bit of a trick question, that one. Excellent work. OK, how about our next celebrity feline?
Cat Slater.
Slater. Well done, Hillary. You enjoy the soaps just like me. OK, who's next?
There you go. There's
From
your
the
Simba.
day we arrived on the planet, blinking stepped into the sun. See, I do know the words of the Lion King.
You could have a musical. You know how Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Just a matter
had
of time.
musical version. You could have
The circle of life. It's the wheel of fortune. Well, who is the character?
Simba.
It is Simba. Well done. The points go to Tommy. Let's power through a couple more if we can.
Oh, Garfield. Come on, good
Next
lad.
up.
Pussy Galore.
Pussy Galore.
Hey.
Ashleen, I think you'll find it's a family show.
Sorry.
One more.
Jerry.
Tom from Tom and Jerry. It's been a game of cat and mouse with my amazing panel tonight. It's been brilliant to have them and brilliant to have you as well. We're going to have one last hurrah tomorrow at 9. I'll see you then. Stick around for headliners.
Looking ahead to tomorrow's weather, and the UK is looking dry and bright for many, but there will be some outbreaks of rain over Northern Ireland and Western Scotland. Let's take a look at the details. It'll be a cloudy start in the southwest with a little coastal mist and fog in the west. Quickly brightening up, though, with some sunny spells developing especially in the east. The southeast will start a little chilly, but it'll be dry with plenty of sunshine. Some high clouds will turn the sunshine hazy at times. It'll be a rather cloudy start across South Wales, with some coastal mist likely in the west, soon brightening up though with sunny spells developing. The northwest of England will start Easter Sunday on a dry and bright note. It'll be mild and the cloud will tend to thin and break with sunny spells developing through the morning. It's a similar start for the northeast. It'll be dry and bright, but the sunshine will be hazy to start due to the high cloud, but sunny spells will soon start to break through. It'll be a rather cloudy start across Scotland, with a little light rain likely over the high ground. The best of any bright or sunny spells will be in the east. It'll be a very different start for Northern Ireland though, a very cloudy picture here with outbreaks of rain in the west, gradually spreading east to all areas through the morning. Rain will persist across Northern Ireland and western Scotland. Elsewhere though, it'll be a dry day with plenty of warm sunshine. And that is how the weather is shaping up during tomorrow morning.
Coming up tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Welcome to a very special GB News Easter programme. We are invited during this short time to enter into the passion, death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. It's an invitation to take part in